So in this video I'm going to talk about authenticity, being yourself, why it's so important, why it's really important to me actually, it's something that people always say when they meet me, oh, you're very, very real, you're very authentic. And so I'll talk about how to be authentic, why it's important, why you shouldn't be scared to be who you are, to really, really lead with your personal energy, your personal values, and your awesome self. So first of all, why be authentic? Why even bother? What are the benefits? People can sense it when you're real. People can really tell when you're being yourself and when you're putting on a persona or a front, right? It's something that we subtly know about other people. Are they being real or are they not? And we just have this sixth sense for it. So when we know that someone's being really who they are and being really real, something in us feels really safe when we're around that. I know when I meet people and I feel like they are just themselves, they have no agenda, they're just being, living, expressing who they are, I find it really, really magnetic. I feel like I'm really drawn to people like that. And in the same way, the more you are yourself, the more you lead with who you are, authentically, without worry, without caring what people think, the more you do that, the more people will be drawn to you actually, which is kind of a great thing, right? Isn't it great to just be you and be really loved, accepted, and celebrated for who you are? So if you are struggling with authenticity or want to be more authentic, so the benefit is to make you more magnetic, but what might be getting in the way, right? Now the biggest thing that gets in the way of being authentic is when we care too much about what other people think. We're really bothered by other people's opinions, we're really bothered how we're perceived, we're really bothered about pleasing other people, pleasing behaviour. And my first tip is to let that go. Really, really let go of what other people think. It's hard, right? It's not that easy because we're a tribal society. We are conditioned to fit in, and back in, prehistoric times, if you got kicked out of the tribe, you didn't survive, right? So we are people, we are naturally, in our DNA, we are conditioned to want to fit in, conditioned to want to be liked by other people. But the irony is that if you try really hard to be liked and you're not being yourself, people can sense that. They won't like you anyway. And actually, even if they do like this persona, they don't like the real you. So you've got to keep up this act in order for those people to keep liking you. Versus being authentic, when you're really yourself, you actually find your real tribe. You find people who accept you for who you are. You find people who love you no matter what you do. You don't even have to try, right? You're just yourself and they think you're awesome. So let go of what people think. Don't worry too much about all of that. And you have to really have faith that you will attract who you need to attract. You will attract those people that are truly meant to be for you and in your life. So when it comes to being really, really authentic, I find the biggest reason people are not authentic or are not able to be authentic is because they've lost that connection to themselves. They're not connected to who they are, and as a result, they don't even actually know what it feels like to be authentic. They don't even know what's inside of them. Like, what is the energy inside of them that really wants to be expressed? Okay? So the first thing is you have to find your flavor of authenticity. Like, what is your flavor of authenticity? And the only way by finding that out is by going really deep inside yourself, like meditating, spending time alone, getting to know who you are, or even going into different social environments and social circles and just noticing how you show up in those environments, which ones feel good, which ones don't feel good, noticing your thoughts, your emotions after hanging out with certain groups of people. So really getting to know yourself, connecting to yourself and figuring out, what do I find really nurturing? Which environment feels really nurturing for me? Which group of people lift me up and make me feel positive? In which group of people do I feel really accepted? Right? Do I feel like I can be myself, I can do what I want to do, I can say what I want to say, and they still love me? In fact, the more I'm myself, they love me for who I am. Yeah? And that comes, that awareness, that level of awareness only comes when you are able to get quiet and connect with yourself and really connect to what's inside you. Like, what is inside you and what are you actually truly feeling? What are you truly feeling when you connect with certain people? So step one, really connect to yourself, connect to who you are. And that leads on to my second point. Okay, so authenticity, this word authenticity, I think it takes two things to be authentic. The first thing it takes is courage, and I'll explain that now, what I mean by that. It takes courage, but it also takes the ability to know that it looks different for everyone, and to figuring out your flavour of authenticity. Yeah? So to the first point, courage. Now, I have quite strong opinions about certain things. Sometimes quite controversial opinions, sometimes opinions that people don't agree with. And I really speak my truth. Yeah? So I've done this my whole career, I've done this in my coaching, I do this all the time. It's just who I am. So why does that take courage? Because sometimes what you think is not the popular opinion. What you think goes against the crowd. What you think is not what people want to hear. Okay? So it does take a little bit of digging deep, right, to what you truly think, responding to what's really true for you, but also having a bit of courage to express that. Now, if we don't have the courage to express that, we have to dig deep to find it, because actually, when you don't say what you think, when you don't express who you are authentically, and you disagree with what you're hearing, sometimes at some level that can actually impact your self-esteem. Going back to the chakras, the sacral chakra, if we don't express who we are, we affect our self-esteem and confidence. Our solar plexus. We can affect our self-esteem, which lives in the solar plexus. So you have to have a lot of courage, back yourself, say what you think, and say what you think in a way that feels true to you. So express yourself. It doesn't have to be harsh. You don't have to go in guns blazing. My style of authenticity, I'm very direct. Right? I'm very direct. That's just how I am. I get to the point. I'm not blunt. I am blunt. But you might not be. You might be somebody who is naturally a lot more diplomatic. And I've had to learn actually to be a lot more diplomatic so that my message is received. So when you are courageous and you express who you are and you express what you think, do so in a way that feels right for you. Which leads on to my second point. So the first point was courage, having courage and expressing who we are. And the second point is related. Find your flavour of authenticity. Find your unique flavour. So I've had, sometimes when you're quite a strong personality, which I am, when you're like that, you find that people can sometimes start to imitate you and copy how you are. And I've noticed, especially, it's really flattering, but I've noticed that sometimes people are around me, and because I'm quite a direct, kind of jokey person naturally, sometimes people try to copy my style of authenticity. They become really direct, they become really blunt, but it actually doesn't work for them. It doesn't feel authentic, it doesn't land in the same way, and it's just not right. It's just not right. You can sense they're not being who they really are. Their style of authenticity might be to show up in a very diplomatic way, or to show up in a more serious way, or to show up in a way that's a lot more kind and loving. And I think that is really important, to play around with these different energies of expression and just notice what feels right for you. You probably already know to some extent, like if you think of how you are with your family, your closest friends, especially your friends, like what they love about you, how they love you to be, how they're really drawn to you. Probably, if they're really good friends and authentic friends, then probably the way you show up in those friendships is an indication of what is an authentic energy for you. So find your flavour of authenticity and really practice doing that more. Practice doing that more. So if your style of authenticity is kindness, saying everything with kindness, practice doing that more. Practice being a lot more kind in the workplace. Practice being a lot more kind in your friendships. Practice being even more kind to strangers that you meet. Yeah? If your style of authenticity is humour, maybe you're somebody who just naturally leads with humour, that's just who you are. Try that in social interactions, you know, like crack a joke when you meet someone new. At work, obviously being sensitive to the environment, so not making inappropriate jokes, but find your flavour of humour in each environment you're in. And what you'll find is, because it comes naturally to you, people again will be drawn to that, because they'll be like, you know, this person is just expressing a part of themselves, they're just expressing who they are, and I like that, like they're real. The feedback you should get is, you know what, you're real, you're just who you are, and I love that about you. And maybe even think about someone you know, someone you've worked with, someone you are drawn to, maybe even a famous personality or celebrity that you like. I always think of examples like Seth Rogen, however you pronounce it, Rebel Wilson, you know. Yeah, these are two examples that stand out for me. I don't know them personally, obviously, but they're two people that seem to me to come across really authentically. They just really don't care about how they look. There seems to be a lack of ego, and it's like, this is who I am, like it, lump it, I don't really care. And that becomes really magnetic, right? We want more of that. Another person I feel is really authentic is Sadhguru, the spiritual teacher, right? Sadhguru is not saying things to try and please anybody. He's not trying to be popular. He is just expressing who he is. And he's really, really honest. Like sometimes to the point where it might seem even a bit harsh, but that's him. That's him, yeah? Now, I'm not saying go out and be really, really harsh. I'm not saying go out and start, you know, being rude to people. So be honest, be authentic, but do so in a way that also is diplomatic. I will say that, right? There's a difference between offering someone the truth, right, and doing so in a way that is kind of, people call it radical candor, right? But if you're hurting someone's feelings in that, it's not kind, right? It's not just you standing in your truth and owning your truth, it's you actually disregarding another person's feelings. And I do think there is a space, as someone who is very direct, there is a space for saying what you think, doing so in a direct way, but also being really diplomatic and being really kind while you do so. Okay, and if you want to know more about that, put some comments in the chat and I can maybe do a video about how to do that, how to express your opinion, do so in a way that's authentic, but do so in a way that's also really kind. God, my hair looks a mess today anyway. So yeah, find your flavour of authenticity, do so in a way that's kind, but really meditate on who you are. Become your own best friend, like become really connected to yourself. The biggest reason I find for people not being authentic is that they are not connected to who they truly are. They've become lost from that. So they're following friends, they're looking at social media, they're trying to be like other people, they're copying what they think works. And it just never really comes off right. It just never really comes off right. And that kind of person who's like pretending to be like someone else, you can feel it. You know, you can feel that they're not really being who they are. You can feel they're just a bit of an imitation of something else. Versus the person who is themselves. Versus the person who is truly connected to who they are, fiercely themselves. We want to be around them. We feel drawn to them. They are magnetic to us. Our heart, I'm literally touching my heart, our heart wants to be around them. And actually we see them as leaders and we see them as really confident as well. So those are my tips. So first thing I'm saying in closing, if you want to be authentic, don't care about what people think. Let that go. You're never going to please anyone, so just please yourself, seriously. Connect to yourself. Find out who you are. Find out who you really are. What's your unique flavour of authenticity? Put yourself in different environments and connect to the real you that likes to express whatever that version is. Have courage. It does take courage to be yourself. Sometimes you've got to do things the crowd doesn't do. That's okay. And meditate. Start a meditation practice. I think it really helps. I became a lot more authentic when I started to meditate and meditate regularly, because actually my spirit was speaking to me, my consciousness was speaking to me. And if I wasn't being true to myself, that voice was really loud. And it's just such a great internal check to be like, you know what, you're not being you, you're not being who you really are. Don't do that. This environment's not right for you, this group isn't right for you, this whatever it might be isn't right for you. Come back to your truth. Okay, so I hope you found that helpful. Share in the comments what you think, what else you want to know about the topic of authenticity. This topic relates to the throat chakra, so it's very, very closely related. So I will talk about the throat chakra. I've got videos coming for all the chakras. They are posted in the chakra playlist, so check them out. But when I create the video and post the video about the throat, we are going to talk even more about authenticity, and actually how you can use breathing and yoga to support you to be even more authentic. Okay, have a fantastic time. Stay authentic, be real, keep it real, be yourselves, and I will see you soon. Bye. Oh, and like, subscribe, comment and share. Bye.